Welcome to DigitizerX, your source for all things pharmatech, compliance, and innovation. Today we're diving deep into how the Software Development Lifecycle, or SDLC, is managed in the pharmaceutical industry with full alignment to GxP, 21 CFR Part 11, and GAMP 5 guidelines. So whether you're in quality, IT, or validation, this episode is for you. Okay, so why is SDLC such a big deal in pharma? Well, unlike other industries, we're not just building tools, we're building validated systems that support regulated activities like manufacturing, lab testing, and quality control. A poorly designed system can lead to data loss, batch recalls, or worse, regulatory penalties. That's why compliance with frameworks like 21 CFR Part 11 and Annex 11 is crucial. Now, the SDLC in pharma consists of 7 phases, each meticulously designed to ensure that the final product is not just functional, but fully GxP compliant. Let's take a closer look at each one. First up, we have the User Requirement Specification, or URS. Think of this as the blueprint of your software project. In this phase, you define precisely what the system must do, covering both functional and non-functional requirements. For instance, it might specify how users should log in securely, what data access controls are needed, or even how electronic signatures should be handled. This is also where risk assessment comes into play. Every requirement is evaluated to understand its impact on GxP. This drives the validation strategy, determining the level of testing and documentation needed for each system component. The output of this phase is a detailed URS document, a living thing that should be regularly reviewed and updated as project priorities shift. This document acts as the foundation for everything that follows, ensuring that everyone is on the same page from the start. Next, we move into the FS and DS phase, which stands for Functional Specification and Design Specification. These specifications dive deeper into how the software should operate. The Functional Specification, or FS, outlines what the software should do, describing user workflows, system functionalities, and business rules. This could include process control functionalities, data management protocols, or even user interface design. It's all about answering the question, what should the software do? Once the FS is finalized, it's time to craft the Design Specification, or DS. Here you detail how the software will achieve the desired functionality. This involves defining data models, system architecture, data flow diagrams, and integration points. In essence, the DS provides a comprehensive view of the software's internal structure and external interfaces. Both the FS and DS should have a traceability matrix linking each item back to the URS, demonstrating how each software aspect supports overall business requirements. Now moving into the development phase, which aims to transform the approved design specifications into a functional software system. But it's not just about writing code. It's about writing code in a highly controlled and documented environment. Developers must strictly adhere to defined standards, utilize validated tools, and implement GAMP 5 category logic, especially when dealing with configurable or custom applications. Every change, no matter how small, must be logged and justified. Version control of the source code is essential, enabling the tracking of changes and rollbacks if needed. Regular code reviews and testing are integrated into the process to ensure quality and adherence to specifications. Next, we come to the heart of compliance, verification and validation, also known as V&V. This is where we ensure that the developed software meets the predefined specifications and business requirements. First, we perform IQ, OQ, and PQ, which stand for Installation Qualification, Operational Qualification, and Performance Qualification respectively. IQ focuses on the installation and setup of the software. Does the hardware meet the stated specifications? Is the software installed correctly? These questions are addressed during IQ. Next comes OQ, which ensures that the software operates as intended under normal conditions. This involves testing various scenarios and workflows to confirm that the system functions correctly. Finally, there's PQ, which puts the system under stress, testing its limits and boundaries to ensure it handles errors and exceptions gracefully. All tests must be thoroughly documented, including test cases, procedures, and results. And remember, we're not just testing for functionality, we're testing for compliance too. Each test case should map back to the URS items, creating a clear link between business requirements and test coverage. Any deviations or failed tests must be investigated and resolved before proceeding. This rigorous V&V process is the cornerstone of GxP-compliance, guaranteeing that the software is not just built right, but also validated right. Now, once the software passes all the V&V stages, it moves into the release management phase. Releasing software into a production environment, especially in a GxP setting, is a significant milestone. But it's not the end. There are several crucial steps involved in the release management process. First, you need approval from relevant stakeholders like QA and regulatory teams. This often involves a formal sign-off process. Next, there should be a checklist to verify that all aspects of the project have been properly addressed. This checklist may include environment checks, dependency confirmations, or resource verifications. The goal is to avoid any surprises during deployment. After the sign-off and checklist, the system is released into a validated and authorized environment. This usually involves a structured deployment process to minimize downtime and potential issues. Finally, post-release activities involve monitoring the system closely to ensure it continues to function as expected in the live environment. This may include gathering feedback from users, addressing any bugs or issues, and making minor adjustments if necessary. All right, now that our software is running smoothly, it's time to talk about maintenance and change control. As with any complex system, changes are inevitable. However, even small changes in a GxP environment must be managed carefully to maintain compliance and system integrity. This is where the concept of change control comes into play. Every change, no matter how small, must be formally requested, evaluated, and approved. The change control process involves several steps. Firstly, a change request is submitted, which includes details about the proposed modification and its rationale. This is then assessed for its potential impact on the system's functionality, performance, and compliance. If approved, the change is implemented, and this is followed by thorough testing to ensure that the modification functions correctly and doesn't introduce any new issues. Post-change, documentation is updated to reflect the latest modifications. Regular reviews of the system's performance post-change are also crucial to monitor the effectiveness of the modification. In addition to change control, routine maintenance is equally important. This can include tasks like software patching, system backups, or performance optimizations. Just like changes, maintenance activities should be planned, tested, and documented to ensure minimal disruption and maximum effectiveness. Lastly, we have the decommissioning phase. This is the final chapter in the life cycle of a GxP software system. Now, decommissioning is not simply about shutting down a system. It's about doing it in a controlled and compliant manner. Several critical steps need to be considered. First and foremost, data must be archived in a format that's searchable, secure, and compliant with regulations like 21 CFR Part 11. This ensures that historical data remains accessible for auditing and regulatory purposes. A decommissioning plan must be created. This plan should outline the entire process, including timelines, responsibilities, and potential risks. The plan needs approval from both quality and IT departments. During decommissioning, the system should be thoroughly cleaned, removing all references and data to prevent any future access or manipulation. The decommissioned system should not be deleted immediately. Instead, it should be retained for a set period to meet data retention regulations. Finally, all documentation related to the system, including its history and decommissioning process, must be readily available for inspection. Now let's take a step back and appreciate the bigger picture. SDLC in the pharmaceutical industry is much more than a series of sequential phases. It's a structured approach to delivering high-quality, compliant, and reliable software solutions. From the initial URIs through each phase to release, maintenance, and finally decommissioning, each step builds upon the last. And each phase has its own set of challenges and complexities. But when executed correctly, they combine to deliver robust, efficient, and compliant software systems that drive innovation in the pharma industry. So there you have it, a comprehensive overview of the GxP-compliant SDLC. If you found this episode insightful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a review. Your feedback is invaluable and keeps us motivated to bring you more informative content. And don't forget to follow us on social media for more updates in the world of pharma tech and compliance. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of DigitizerX. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, keep innovating and stay compliant.